So I've been a big fan of RossDraws for quite some time, and he was, one of the main reasons I got into digital art to begin with and started learning digital art. But his reputation these days are not looking so good. So, he was accused on using AI for some of his art and, accused of mistreating some of his employees. But I'm not really here to dig deep into the details of that. There are so many videos that talk about that, and I'll link a couple of them in my description below. But what I want to talk about is what are the things that we can learn as artists, as art community, as people in general from this whole RossDraws drama. So to begin with, we all make mistakes. The first lesson is that, RossDraws is also another human and he made a mistake. But the problem is the way we respond to our mistakes. RossDraws responded from the accusations, and he only really answered the accusations of AI. And I think there could have been a lot better way to respond to this and come out with, an apology. But, the big thing is that he ignored a lot of the accusation and only focused on one thing. And when you do that, you're really trying to, people see through that. People understand that you're trying to avoid some things. And, people might say, well, at least he came out and apologized. And this was my first reaction that, yeah, at least maybe he apologized a little bit. But then after I started thinking about it a little bit more, I realized that, me, maybe so many other people are not really accepting this apology or not thinking that it's a real apology because he didn't address everything else. It's okay to say that we've made a mistake. It's okay to say that, what I did was wrong and I'll try and do better. This is one thing that we can all do. And I think a similar example to this is, when I look at Ergo Josh. Ergo Josh similarly a few months ago used AI in his art, and he made a video about how he's trying to use AI ethically to, make it as a reference and try and compile it in a way that would be an ethical use of AI. But then the reaction to that from the art community was negative, and rightfully so, because, as we talked about AI and we understand that it's built on a lot of, stolen art and things. And Ergo Josh, at first, when he made that video, I think, he was trying to be genuine with his way. But when he saw the reaction, he owned up to his mistake. He really addressed every concern, and he, apologized for everything. He came out with a video addressing the issue and all of that. And I think that was great. And I think that's why people's trust maybe started to build again with him. But when we ignore the issue and we pretend it didn't happen, people start losing trust in us or in the artist. So I think as artists, what we can learn, or as people, what we can learn is that it's okay to make mistakes, but if we make a mistake, let's own up to it, apologize, deal with it. These are hard conversations to have. It's very difficult to admit to our mistakes, but we can, if we do it, we build better relationship with, our colleagues, friends, or anyone that we talk to. And, a similar example to this, it's not exactly the same, but when we receive, for example, criticism or feedback from our art, because at the end of the day, it comes back to ego. If we have this big ego, we can't admit to our mistakes. Similarly, we can't accept feedback on our art. So I think this is a good example that we can take to put our ego aside. And whenever we ask for feedback or whenever we make a mistake, to just listen to it, understand it, and try and become better. The second thing that I want to talk about is, the whole idea of, as some beginner artists or aspiring artists, or some people that want to become better at art, look up to these big artists, which is fine, but then we romanticize maybe working with them or for them. So then we end up doing these things for free. And sure, this is all good. You get an opportunity to work with them. But the problem is that, this employee of RossDraws that was trying, or the helper or the assistant that was trying to work with him, did some work, at some expo at Artist Alley, and then tried to do another one and ask for payment. But then RossDraws just denied it. And let's not go into the detail, but he immediately, after saying that, yes, I need you, as soon as a request for payment was done or made for that, I need to get paid for this, it was, oh no, I have someone else. And I think the problem is that because there are so many other artists that romanticize about this, about an opportunity to work with RossDraws or be with them and all of that, that we enable these artists to just make that decision of, I will just choose someone that will do it for free. And I think we need to normalize that these things, no matter who we're doing it for, should be compensated for, and we should ask for our time to be rewarded. And of course, there are, a lot of logistics needs to be done up front and all of that. But I think the problem that I'm trying to say is that as an art community, we need to stop romanticizing working for these people for free and enabling them to take advantage of other artists. Finally, the final thing that I want to talk about is AI art. AI art, so there are so many artists around that have tried to find ways to make it ethical, find ways to justify it and try and do it in a way that, can be ethical, but I don't think that's possible. At this point, all of these things that we have for, creating AI art are just based on, stealing other artists' work and other creatives, properties. So there's no way, no matter how we try and do it, no matter how we dissect it, even if we don't use prompts of saying, artist name in it, it's still using other artists' work. So no matter how we do it, at this point, I don't think it can be done in any ethical way. So I think it's best to just stop trying to do that and just focus your time on getting better as an artist. And I think the big problem is that, we look up to these artists. These artists create great work. And then especially the ones that, post a lot on social media, especially if you're posting videos on YouTube, then, we start connecting with them. We start building a relationship with them. And as we build that relationship with them, we have high expectations of them. So when they make a mistake, the mistake is really big, because I think when you have a big following like that, there is still a little bit of responsibility. You are representing the art community in a way. So there is a little bit of responsibility here. So I hope we really can take this, when we make mistakes, let's respond to it in a way that will make us a better person and then make the art community a better place.